Hi, and welcome to the podcast where we talk to the main stars of SiMP, Brooke Piedra and Mike Markoff. This was recorded in April, the day after we premiered the movie at the SACTOWN Movie Buffs Film Festival at the ESQUiRE iMAX Theater, where we happened to take home the trophy, Best Feature Film, baby. We won, baby, we won. And then Brooke won Best Actress as well. So we showed up, we showed out, we had a really great time. But this was recorded the morning after, so maybe we were a little bit, maybe a little bit tired from a long night, if you know what I mean. But we had a great time. And anyway, stay tuned till the end where we have some updates about SiMP. And thank you and congratulations to SiMP. It has 77,000 views on the movie so far. So if you are new to the channel, welcome, welcome. My name's TREMAiN HAYHOE. We make movies, baby. We make movies. And now you're going to get a little bit of an insider look with the stars of the movie, where we go a little bit deeper into the making of the film and premiere. Thank you guys for watching. All right, enjoy the show. Grab a drink, grab some popcorn, and enjoy the show. And if you like the content, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Cheers to you. You got coffee. You got
I already drank all my OJ.
Well, we could always get refills. We just premiered our movie, SiMP, last night. Woo! Yes. And how did it go?
Mike, would you like to start?
Yeah, no, it was amazing to see this movie on such a large screen with an audience, and it's always really, really cool to see the culmination of your work kind of all converging into a grand event, and I thought you did a great job of doing that. It was what the movie kind of deserved. And it was just incredibly gratifying to see all the hard work that you did, TREMAiN, and everything that we did those 9 days.
Yeah.
Because, when you're, I don't know, it's like as an actor, it's like, we're always trained to think like about process over product, right? So we get so focused on doing the thing, on the journey of doing the thing, and the product sometimes doesn't come until like years later. So if I had been holding my breath since you called that final cut on the martini shot of the movie before we called wrap, that would just be ridiculous. You do something and then you move on. And I think it's one of the delights of being in this industry, where it's, you do something, you come together, you tell a story, and you have your memory of doing it, and then a couple years later, you get to be surprised because a lot of that has kind of left your living memory or your consciousness for the most part, and you get to enjoy it. Whereas you do a project and it comes out a couple months later, of course, every single moment that's happening while you're watching the movie, you have a clear memory of that. Whereas most of making this movie has become like a silhouette in my mind of different feelings that I was having while making it, different experiences we were having that was related to the acting or related to the actual filmmaking process that kind of became immortalized in my mind. But watching it last night and watching some of these, like, so many interesting moments that we organically achieved in this movie was such a cool surprise. And I got to watch it not so much as an actor, but as an audience member, because the time had passed.
Dude, yes, that is so awesome, and that is so great, because there is something about that, and people give me crap. Well, when's the movie coming out? Like, we wrap on day 9, and we have the martini shot. People are like, well, when's the movie gonna be out? And then we have this movie, and then like, well, where's the next movie?
Do you think it's going to Netflix?
Yeah, it's going to Netflix. What day is it gonna be? And I'm like,
Yeah, we've been talking to a lot of distributors. Okay, we pretty much signed, sealed.
Yeah.
So what are you doing next? You're like, I
just did this for 3 years. It was been an ongoing process. Like, I've been doing other stuff. Like, I've been in production for my business and stuff. But that's not a movie. Because I've been doing, we pour money into the movies to help make that the main thing. Because that's what But in between then, I gotta still pay bills and everything. But going back to what you were saying is like having that removal of a couple years of having it being done, and then you kind of you're able to step back and actually watch it and not be like, because there's people that are directors that are like looking over your shoulder, like, hey, what do you think about that part? Or they're like, what do you think about this? Watch this part. What it's like, dude, you don't want to be that guy. You want to be there and enjoy the movie, and people can really show up and show out. And what you were saying again, this movie did deserve a big screen IMAX release. It did. It freaking did. It deserved a yellow carpet. And like we're trying to get people on to the level where it's like you have to show people this. We got my mom here. Hey, mom, come on in. You're fine. Hey.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine. We got my mom here filming.
Mom.
Yeah, we're live here at the suite. But I would like to thank you guys for being here and showing up for the premiere. And it really means a lot, and it's a testimony to the movie when the actors and stars actually show up to the movie. It's like it's kind of a red flag if none of the actors are there, or sometimes the director doesn't even show up, and it's like that's really awkward. It's like, what are you making a movie for?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah, the thing is I kind of I fell into the habit of not going to the premieres of things because I had this. This is kind of like, typical in actors. We get a little bit mind fucked, kind of watching ourselves. That's no secret. There's a lot of people that have issues with that, and I do too. But it's only because I guess my trajectory in the past couple of years has been like probably like since COVID. What happened was I started getting booked on more projects, and I'm kind of an experiential learner. I'm not like a classroom learner very well. I mean, I try to be, but I'm just not.
Same.
I kind of have to do it and fuck up. So what happened was I was doing all these trial and error movies for a while, like really just trying to test out my art and see if I can like really do this and see where I'm at or what characters I should play. Where I started doing a lot of them, and then what would happen is I would do them. I would be at a point of my progression, right? I would do this movie, and then 2 years would pass, and I would go back and watch it and be like, "Wow, Mike, you're a shitty actor," right?
Right.
And then,
yeah.
but I in those 2 years, I had really, I'd maybe done, quite a few projects or whatever, and had progressed at least in my mind or something. And then I would watch something, and it would revert me back to like, oh, you do this weird shit with your face. You don't look present at all. You look like you're half-assed your way through this scene. No, you're overacting there, and oh, you're underacting there. And so for a while there, I just like, okay, Mike, don't watch the past shit. Just keep the blinders on. Focus on your progression. Be forward-looking. And I remember I was nervous to watch this one because it was a bit of a blur to me, right? The story was not a traditional story. The character is not a traditional character. I have no idea how the audience is going to perceive it. All I could do at that time was, perform it as truthfully as I can under your direction, under my instincts, and under what me and Brooke were working with back and forth in each of these scenes and play each of them truthfully. But as an actor, you have to have a certain amount of intelligence to sort of foresee how things come together to tell a story. And in my mind, I couldn't exactly understand, have a full perception of how this character was going to be perceived. He's someone behaving badly who thinks he's not behaving badly, who perhaps has a compartmentalized good intention and a compartmentalized completely neglecting the fact that he's doing something atrocious. At the same time, I'm like, well, audiences, are they going to hate him or anything? And then I watched this movie last night, and I'm just like, oh, wow, it's such an interesting view of the human experience. We know now, it's 2024, and stories that are being told now are not like your typical, I was talking about with him the other day, we don't have the typical like protagonist, happy-go-lucky, fucking bopping around, Michael J. Fox, slight underdog,
right.
Gets the girl or whatever. No, now when we tell stories, we're actually really mirroring the fact that humans are imperfect, that we all go through a great many challenges in this world because this world is challenging. It's filled with suffering. And a lot of times, we realize that antagonists and bad people or bad guys or whatever it is, or bad women, it's not like they're being bad for the sake of being bad. It's usually because they got hurt somewhere along the way and one bad decision spiraled down or something. And when I was thinking about this character last night while watching him, I was just like, this is so representative of how we go wrong in so many ways as human beings. We do something that we're not proud of. We try to ignore it, and we feel victimized, and that victimization leads us to victimize others, basically. Perhaps.
Wow, that was like, that was very poetic what you said, and that's all true. I mean, it is something like, I always say, the characters aren't like black and white. We're always in the gray area where everyone's, it's like, oh, there's a murderer and a rapist. You're right. They're like, okay, those are horrible, terrible extremes. But like you said, what was this person doing that was snowballing to go to this?
Well, I think the perfect reference, once again, part of a conversation with our lovely cameraman over there. The perfect reference to me when I think about movie making these days and our anti-heroes or our villains is I think about Joaquin Phoenix's The Joker. We're watching this movie, and he's so endearing, and he just wants to be a clown. He's so happy and loving and passionate about it. He keeps getting his ass kicked by the world, taken to the alley and punched in the face just for, like, wanting to do his thing, being picked on constantly, just nabbing at him. Someone who is so pure that by the end, when he's about to fucking open fire on people, the audience is like, fucking do it! These motherfuckers deserve it! It's incredible, and that shows you how sometimes it's the cycle of abuse.
Tremaine.
You were visualizing it. You're like, yeah, motherfucker. Yeah, and so...
To be honest, I was looking at that award, I'm like, damn, I didn't win Best Director award, but we won Best Feature. Like, fuck it, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway.
It's SACTOWN movie buffs.
Yeah, shout out to baby.
Sorry.
For better or for worse, we love you guys. Shout
Sorry.
out to you guys.
Yeah. Did you ever see the Last Starfighter, that 80s movie? I bet you have. I fucking love that movie. Yeah.
Yeah, he said yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually a really great story. The premise for this movie is aliens have put like a video game on Earth, right? Called The Last Starfighter. It's kind of like an arcade game.
Oh, you know what? I think I have seen this.
And the person with the high score gets clocked in the universe and like, this could be our next best fighter pilot. And he gets, so this dude, just a guy in a small town, just a small town guy playing at the local arcade, gets like the highest score ever. And then all of a sudden, some Quantum Leap looking motherfucker shows up and he's like, hey, do you want to join the rebellion? And he's like, fuck yeah, bro. Oh, but wait, someone's got to babysit my little brother. He's like, don't worry about it. We're going to make a clone of you. No one's going to know it's a clone. He's going to be just like you, super chill, and you're going to be up saving the day and getting bitches.
Dude, you know what's funny? You doing that, I'm already thinking of I'm thinking of like 30 different roles that you could play in the next future movies. I'm like already just, the gears are grinding right here for
Thank
that.
you.
One of my favorite movies is Starship Troopers.
Sure.
And that is a classic film. Like all these, every single person is like really good as an actor. And anyway, when I think about a sci-fi, one day I will do a sci-fi.
These aren't live, right? You're not like live streaming
No,
some shit, are you?
No.
Good.
It's very
Just want to make sure.
We can cut out anything, but at the same time, like I don't even care. Like
You've been known to live stream often.
I don't mean like I did live stream my whole life for 30 days straight, 24/7. But going back to Brooke, what was your experience, or going to Brooke for first?
I know, I've just been like really silent over here. No, I was just taking in everything that both of you were saying. It's pretty hard to follow up on that one, Mike, but I think you hit the nail on the head, honestly.
I tried to make it convoluted and complicated enough where people think I know what I'm talking about, but I don't.
There's a lot to unpack.
No, but you do know what you're talking about because we've had like private conversations about similar things to what you were saying. So how did last night go? So there's two sides. You're asking me how did the movie go or how did the whole experience go?
Okay.
We'll start with the whole experience.
Okay.
It was amazing. Thank you, Tremaine, for having all these people come out, for setting all of this up. It was really cool to have this reunion with everyone because it has been so long. And then just seeing everyone and even seeing Jeff last night. And too bad Mario couldn't make it too. But it was so fun to just be all together again and kind of relive that experience of what we did a few years ago, and just it obviously like jogged my memory of like different things that had happened, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember when that happened. So that was amazing. I think last night was a huge success, and you know, the movie had people cracking up left and right, which is all you can ask for. If the crowd is silent, then you know, especially during a comedy,
Right? Yeah. Exactly.
you're like, fuck, what's happening? But yeah, I think it read very well, and everyone seemed to enjoy it a lot, and that's really all you can ask for. As far as like my opinion on the movie and how it went, I think it was amazing. The quality of what we were watching, I didn't feel like I was watching like, you know, an independent film or something with like a small budget. Like I genuinely felt like I was actually watching a movie, and then of course being the one in most to a lot of the scenes comes the actor's predicament of like, oh fuck, I blinked right there. Why did I blink right there? Like,
Right.
it's like
I was breathing in this scene. How dare I?
Yeah, and so, you know, I was
I could tell I didn't know what I did with my hands there.
Yeah. Why did I look down? Like things that other people don't notice that I'm like, Brooke, I know what you're doing there. You're not fooling anyone. But so then I was juggling back and forth, because then I would actually get really tied into a scene, especially if we were having something really great or dialogue happening where I forgot that it was me on the screen. I'm like, wow, this is like, I'm like really into this. And then I'm like, ah, fuck, why did I blink there? You know, so I was juggling that back and forth. But I think all in all, if I'm not like totally cringing at my acting performance or anyone else's, then it was like a success. Like I thought it went really well. I'm really excited for other people to see it too, and to get to show my family after 3 years. They're like, so when's that one movie coming out?
I know. You get that? Think about me. Like every day, every minute. When's it coming out? When are you gonna be done with that? Is it gonna be released? This? Oh yeah. How much money did that cost? How much did you pay your actors? All these things. Like people ask all these personal questions, like when it comes to a movie. But I mean, it is a fair question. When is that coming out? And people want to know when to see it.
People are excited, and that's a good thing that people are asking.
The thing is, though, there are so many filmmakers that they make the movie, or they shoot it, or they run out of money, they run out of, to be honest, a lot of times they run out of the confidence, or they run out of just the grit to finish it, and because it takes a lot, because it's like, the last 5% of making a movie is like, honestly, the majority of everything, you know, because it's like we got to make it look good. It's got to be color. We got to get the post production, audio editing. We got to get notes. We got to do notes. We got to do more notes. We got to do notes again. We got to do notes again, and so it's like. And then also when you're submitting to Film Hub and they're submitting to other platforms, they don't tell you when they can release things, so we can't tell anyone a release date. So at the same time, it's kind of tough. But at the same time, having something like the SACTOWN Film Festival, I got to give the credit to them, because that is like, holy shit. Like 30 days ago, they told me I was selected, and I was like, oh shit. Like,
yeah. And kudos to you for pulling all of this together in 30 days. Like, wow.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It's been a ridiculous, crazy 30 days. But I kind of need that. I need that kind of...
the pressure, yeah.
The pressure. I need that. Because when you say, I'm telling other people, be here at the iMAX theater on the big screen.
And they're probably texting you like, hey, trying to call you like, where is it? And you're like, God, you read the notes.
But it's like, I'm telling them to be there. If I'm there and there's no movie, or if I'm there and the sound sucks, or the color sucks, or people say like, oh, I love your movie. Like when we did the soft screening, someone told me like, oh, I love your movie, but the editing wasn't that good. And I'm like, oh, okay, which part wasn't that good that you didn't like? And he's like, well, there's one part that, like, the color was off. There's a one shot, And I'm like,
wait, okay. Someone said that after the movie, after the showing?
Soft screen, not last night.
Oh, okay.
First soft screen last night. I know. But I'm like, okay, that means the color correction was off. For one fucking shot. For one shot. People say, oh, well, the editing wasn't good. Because one shot, it wasn't cut, and it was, you missed that. It's like when you have 3,000 cuts. I don't know the exact amount of cuts. It's in the thousands. You miss one, you're a fuck up. The whole thing is fucked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you talk about pressure. I mean, and it has to be done. It has to be dialed in. You have to be technical, and you have to really, really make it perfect, the best you can. Like for me, I made it the best I can. There, you know, I could always do things differently, whatever. But like, you have to make it, especially showing up on a big screen with a huge audience, a huge, loud. I had to tell them to crank it up. Even I had to tell iMAX to crank the audio up. But but anyway, I'm so happy because it really, I think we really did a great job. And people say, hey, movies aren't just like thrown up there. It's like, it takes an effort and time, effort, energy.
Yeah.
Putting it up there and.
And it's like what you said. I mean, watching a movie is an aesthetic experience, and if like one little thing is off, like the audience is gonna like pick it up like that, And last night, I really didn't. I mean, I wasn't there for the soft screening, so I don't know exactly how the contrast was between the two. But I mean, last night, the quality was so high, I didn't even notice anything like that, and it was nice and not distracting at all. Like, I could actually just focus on like what's happening in the movie, which so many things that I watched today, I'm looking at everything else instead of like what's actually happening in the movie. I'm like, what is happening in the background? This color's weird. I don't know, like, what is, like, this, I'm just thinking about all these other things, so it was cool. Like, the fact that I could actually focus on what's happening in the movie, because, I don't know all the other scenes around besides, like, Mike and I scenes and a couple of that I shot with other people. I didn't even know what was going to happen in all the other stuff, but I was actually interested instead of, like, coming at it from, like, critiquing certain
like you're
things.
not just watching it just to watch yourself or just to,
Yeah.
to say, hey, because a lot of, they can just watch, oh yeah, I just want to look at my role and I don't care about anything else.
Yeah.
You want to be involved in the story, right? And if you're
Yeah.
involved in the story, even if you're part of the production, that's a good sign that you're doing that.
Yeah, that I'm actually not critiquing things, because I just, and critiquing not necessarily in a bad way. I mean, I do it to big TV shows, big films. There's always something to learn too. But yeah, I didn't find myself like critiquing my acting or other people's acting or the scenery or the cinematography or anything. Like, I felt like I could relax and just actually start enjoying the film, which is pretty cool, because I can't say that for like a ton of stuff,
Well, that's the ultimate. That's what we want, right? Like, that's the ultimate compliment, and thank you. Well, it's for all of us, and we credit to. We want to give everyone a good experience. If people are going to take their time, effort, energy into coming out to watch a movie on a big screen, I want your acting to shine. I want your acting to shine. I want people to come up to you and be like, hey man, why did you? Hey, what was the purpose? What do you think Dan's doing? Did Dan get captured later?
Mike's like,
what were Dan's personal
Dan's still at large with a hole in his torso, as far as we know.
he's still out there.
He's still out
Sounds like it's open-ended for a sequel.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Dan's gonna get one of those like Joe from You complexes, when
right.
all the girls
Fixates on the next
yeah,
one.
like they start fantasizing about like, okay, anyways,
Which,
we
by the
don't
way,
want to go
speaking
out
of,
there.
like people, Brooke, be careful, because you're gonna get a lot of. I'm sorry, I feel like you're gonna get a lot of DMs.
I hope I just don't get kidnapped. That's all I
Yeah,
care
I don't
about.
want that to happen.
I'm like, don't get any ideas, people.
Right, like, and for you, I don't know. It's like for you, okay, because you've been in a lot of good stuff, like some big stuff, and you got a big movie coming out on Netflix, and so how has that been? And have people like, do you get a lot of random creepy people DMing you?
I do, but that's mostly from the Lifetime stuff.
He's like, I'm gonna leave it there.
Which, by the way, dude, I saw the spring break.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch that one.
Oh, you didn't watch
Spring
it?
Break Nightmare?
Yeah.
There's another kidnapping thing,
I
right?
watched it. Yeah, and I'm like,
I got an eye patch in that one.
yeah.
Because she poked my eye with a straw.
Oh God.
Dude, yeah. So I know Christy. She's a friend of mine, and so I watched the
Who?
movie.
Oh.
She's the lead. She plays the mom.
Oh,
in the movie.
Kristen Murdoch?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
Does she have a
She's
different
changed
stage
her.
name?
Well, yeah, whatever.
My bad. Oh yeah, she's super cool.
Yeah, she's super cool. She's a great actress, and she plays the
Yeah,
mom.
she's a Lifetime darling now.
She really is.
Yeah.
She really is. And the thing is like, but I watched that movie and I'm like, dude, this is a lot better than I thought. Because when you think about Lifetime movies, you think of like, you know what I mean?
Depends.
Just
Yeah,
shitting
it
on
depends.
everything.
Let's
Yeah.
just shit on everyone and everything. But you know what? That's like, dude, just being honest. We're being real. We're us, right? We're not.
Yeah, no, some of them are bad, and some of them are really interesting, kind of cool thrillers. and
Yeah,
everything.
you never know what's gonna pop out on any of these streaming platforms.
You really don't. You really don't. And I think I give them all credit. And I look at like these productions because they still have limited budget, limited crew.
Mm-hmm.
They still have 100 times, like literally probably 100 times the budget that we.
You're talking about these
Probably
lifetimes,
100
lifetimers?
times. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
a lot of those are being done for 80,000 in 10 days.
Yeah,
Stuff
so,
like that.
So they're working with. That's still. Yeah.
I mean, it's tiny, but it's more
It's
than
still
what
5
you had.
times with what we were.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Yeah, but you got to kind of hand it to them. At the end of the day, and this was the biggest surprise to me, I wasn't aware it had so much viewership. And it's like they come out of the woodwork too. Like, really, even people I know, like, oh yeah, I watch Lifetime at least twice a week. And I'm like, really?
Right, yeah,
And so-
well, that is no.
And then it wasn't until when I started doing those, and I started getting some creepy messages from. It's usually like upper middle-aged women from Middle America, and you know, but and like as much as I always like want to hate it, I'd be like, there's times where in Hollywood you've got so many peaks and valleys, where like what. At a particular low point, I'll pull up Instagram and watch a little edited video that a Lifetimer made for me.
No,
wanna
one
see?
of those fan.
Yeah, please.
Oh,
my-
dude,
Yeah.
these are. And when I'm feeling low, I watch these. I'm like, there's one motherfucker out there who cares about me.
We'll share it on the
Oh,
thing.
the Jeremiah.
Oh, look at this guy. Look at this stud. It's like Survivor.
Wow, this
Wow.
is pretty awesome.
Damn. Dude, look at this. Right? Yeah, I see that, dude.
You gotta
should
repost that
definitely
onto
be proud of
your page.
It's a stud muffin.
We're about to fall off a cliff.
Wait, these are pretty sick.
Is he gonna go overboard at the end there?
You're just like, what happened? Okay, explain the cliff thing. You just jumped.
I think that movie was called Hiding from My Husband. I was the husband. And I have her cornered.
Like you're the one hiding. You're
I have-
jumping off a cliff.
I have her and our son cornered on the top of a mountain in Catalina, and I just bum rush her, and she just moves out of the way, and I just.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Yeah.
spoiler alert for hiding from my husband.
Sorry.
No. That is epic. So when you did that, did they have a mat for you, or was that a
He's
stunt
like,
man?
no,
or-
I think it was,
Right,
Did you actually
right off
jump
the
into
cliff.
ocean?
oh yeah, it was just something about going out of frame. It was like very rudimentary.
Okay.
They had a grand master plan there, and that was But no, those were such great learning experiences for me because look, I mean, these are things that are specifically made for distribution, and there's certain like notes that you have to hit, and I think that was important for me to learn at that time because it's the same with networks, and it's the same with procedurals, and it's the same with certain showrunners that do a certain type of show. And I had been so used to in the indie world just kind of going in and doing my art and letting letting the art fall where it may. But it's like on these sets when you got producers that are hawking your shit. I have a thing coming out, a Lionsgate movie coming out soon too.
Congrats.
Oh, thanks.
Nice. Way to
Yeah.
go.
Thanks.
Way to go.
And that was that one in particular too had it had these kind of like parameters to them, and I would have thought previously like, wow, this is really just kind of messes with your freedom and your instrument as an actor or whatever, and then you just realize actually when push comes to shove, that is the deal. This is a business.
Yes.
This
Thank
is
you.
absolutely a business.
Thank you.
And to quote Matthew McConaughey, you have to start getting relative with the inevitable. yeah, you're going to leave the art world and you're going to go to a place where it's legitimately a business, not just a dude who's using his life savings to make a movie, which is what most of your indie films are.
That's what I did.
But no,
No.
no. Then they become these.
No.
They become these things. These studios have the GDP of like small countries,
Yes.
and there is a plan, and look, and there's times where you have to understand that as an artist operating in this world, if you wanna like make an income, then you need to be able to adjust and adapt on the fly, and also work within those parameters and find freedom within those parameters. And that's how the best people did it. And then you earn the opportunity to maybe go and make your own thing the way you want to make it, perhaps. And look, what you realize when push comes to shove, all of this filmmaking shit is like money laundering and funky business money maneuvering and all this other shit. And if you get the chance to do something artistic in there and it ends up being great, that's like a lot of times that's fucking lucky. There's a lot of times
That's a whole other thing.
we're just sucking the proverbial money dick.
Yeah.
Like,
I was gonna say tea, but you know.
yeah. But the
yeah.
dick one has more desperation.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Oh no.
No.
The T is more desperation. The dick is more longing. Where did I
Depends
go
on-
wrong?
It depends on.
What am I saying right
It
now?
depends on the, you know. Okay, so anyway, so moving forward.
I'm just gonna do a quick pee break. You guys
Yeah.
Keep going.
We can get a little
Okay.
refresher. You know.
Sure. This is a cue to our advertisers. We're gonna take a short break or whatever they say.
Short breather. Yeah, guys.
Whatever they say.
I hope you guys are enjoying the show so far. So far, so good. I want to take a second to say thank you so much for the support. Thank you to all the new subscribers and the views that we've gotten on SiMP. It's been an overwhelmingly positive response so far. But I want to ask you guys, do you like movies? Do you like this movie? Do you want to see us make more movies? The best way for you to support us is to not just watch our movies and like it, which that is free to do, but to support us on Patreon. Yes, we have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/HayHoe Studios. Really simple. We just dropped all the behind the scenes photos of the premiere. So we literally just dropped 1,000 photos of the premiere. So if you become a paid member, you get access to all those photos right now. And there will be plenty more behind the scenes exclusive content to come. It costs money to make movies, and I really appreciate the support. I want to get to that level where we are going off the support of our fans and our followers and our subscribers. I really thank each and every one of you guys for helping us make that happen. Help us make more movies. Help us make movies great again.
Let's talk about the trunk scene. The trunk scene. Let's just talk about that. So
The what scene?
the trunk scene when you and Todd.
Uh-huh.
By the way, shout out to Todd. Love Todd. He is incredible.
Oh yeah.
Great.
Todd is a good friend of mine. He plays a character named Todd, who's your brother, and
What a coincidence.
you're right. What a coincidence. But when he opened up the trunk, and then you were in the trunk. So you're in the trunk, in the bag. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, what was that whole experience like, filming and watching?
So I think that there is something to be said as like a female in the filmmaking industry and process and everything, is that you're on set and it's all men, especially when you know that you're going to be sexualized to some point. And also, like, with the exception of Bunny.
This?
Well, you know, it's a part of the gig. It's like I knew what I was signing up for when I asked for the gig.
Just a
you know,
pretty
and
blonde, vulnerable on the floor, looking sultry.
Hey, she may or may not be dead. So it's not sexual.
She's-
And that way it
something's
makes it
happening
less.
there.
In certain circles.
So you're on set. It's usually a bunch of men, and you know that can go a lot of different ways. Like as a pretty woman or an actress, or you know. Just not just me, just in general, you know, people make comments, inappropriate comments that are made to you and stuff, and you're like, that, like, I'm just here showing up, trying to do my work, and like, here's this dude from the crew making some like weird comment to me, you know what I mean?
Nice rack.
And
what do they say? Like, yeah, what are some things that you've heard? I actually love to hear that. Like.
God, I wish I had something off the top of my head, but there's definitely some like really uncomfortable comments like, like I think that they actually say it like with good intentions. Like I don't know. I don't want to like make excuses for like the inappropriateness, but sometimes like, oh, you really looked really good there on the floor, like something like that. You know what I mean? For example, like wow, that's a really great shot of you.
You look good, roofied.
Right.
It's-
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You look really hot when you're passed out.
Yeah. Just stuff like that. I think maybe they're joking around or something, but I'm like, okay, but you know what I mean? Like, it's a very vulnerable position to like be like maybe the only female on the set, but and then you know like Bunny was the only other one there that was popping in and out as the makeup, and then maybe she had to leave or whatever. And so it can be very vulnerable, especially in a scene where I'm duct taped in a trunk and it's 90 degrees, so there's a bunch of dudes staring at me, one with a camera, one with a boom, the other one, and there's a nipple, and like that, you know, it can be like a very, I think for most women, very intimidating. I grew up with a dad and a brother, so I'm like very used to guys, the locker talk, the whatever, like all of that. I'm very desensitized towards a lot of things, but you know, it does hit me sometimes, like sometimes you kind of feel like no one understands you too as a woman, you know, all the guys are broing around and you're like, you know, I don't know, sometimes.
Yeah, no,
it happens.
I know what you mean. Like, I can't relate to being a pretty woman ever, you know, on set. I can't. And I was like, as hard as that is to believe, you know, like, you know, you're right.
Oh,
yeah,
every time I'm on set, it is like there's always like weird, inappropriate comments made, even when I was like background acting and stuff like that. So it is. You kind of have to have tough skin. And during the time like filming this, I had just finished reading Blonde, the story of Marilyn Monroe, and I was actually relating to like so much of her experience, and I'm like, damn, like that actually, like she really had to live through all of that, and she knew she was going to be sexualized on a lot of these sets, and you know, things that she was wearing and things like that, and especially at that time, it was even more like really like just men probably a part of the crew and things, and now things are being more open. There's a lot of like women working in crew and stuff like that, which is cool. But yeah, I mean, I think going back to the trunk scene and stuff, you know, it was really nice to have known you previously before this experience, because had I not, a lot of this shit would have been kind of scary, and not really knowing if you feel protected at all. So, you know, it made a huge difference, like knowing you and trusting you as a filmmaker and like being a part of that, because I knew that I was being taken care of, and you would ask me, are you okay? Like, how do you feel? Like, you're good, you know? And that went a long way, just even asking that question. So I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. No,
Yeah,
I
of
really,
course.
well, you know, thank you. So like that really means the world, and that's what you want, because for me it's like, yeah, okay, I feel like this, you know, creepy director. You know, there's a lot of directors that are out there, or filmmakers, yeah, and you know this. They're like, hey, come over here, yeah, now take your top off. You know, it's like, dude, you have to, like, this is a friend of mine. You're a friend of mine. I see you like a little sister. You know what I mean? Like, you're a cool person, and I'm so lucky I had you, because if it was some other, like, you know, if it was like model or porn star or something like that, for lack of a better term, like if it was like, you know what I mean, like if it was someone that like knew their, you know, it's a tough thing where like casting this girl, I could have casted some stripper, or you know what I mean, like it could, oh yeah, someone that is used to being naked, or is wants to be looked at sexually, you know, that's a different thing, and I could be that director, like, yeah, let's have all these strippers on set, you know. It's like, no, that's not me. This is the character too. It's like, she's a beautiful woman, and you are a beautiful woman. Objectively, you are beautiful and gorgeous, okay? But I'm like, she has to be beautiful, like that's part of the character, you know, it's part of the character, but I know beauty comes with a lot of things, and a lot of people you know, say a lot of things, and they would say that something, you know, to you that they wouldn't say to me, but you know, and I know Mike gets a lot of that. Like, I've gotten some hot.
Let me just take a moment to feel victimized here.
Some of the
I try to tell people I am more than this. There is substance, and I'm not going to be taken advantage of.
But I think that was actually a theme and like a part of the movie too, was that here Dan was thinking that Jessica was just this dumb blonde online that was like posting selfies, and part of it was that she was real and she's like a real human, and that's just something on social media that she's portraying. But I think I really tried to keep her really grounded, and I didn't try to go in my head like, okay, Instagram model, I'm gonna be a certain way. Like, no, like, I'm gonna show this person as like a human and stuff. Because I actually know a lot of Instagram models, and a lot of them are extremely intelligent and business savvy, and they know what sells, and they make a fuck ton of money doing it.
Yeah, right.
And then they go home and they don't party. They read their books. They're studying up on stuff. They're, you know, they're taking care of themselves, like they're taking care of their body, what they eat, their mind, they're watching podcasts, they're reading, like, you know, so those are the people that I think about when I was playing Jessica, like specifically like some girls that I know that have millions of followers, but, you know, they're nothing like what people think they are online. And that's kind of what I was going for with that.
And I think you nailed it.
I think the scene with your friend really helps make you a hero in that regard too, because basically that scene represents what the view of someone like that is.
Yeah.
And you portraying more like the reality. And even one of my favorite moments that I thought was a great pitfall that you really averted from there, and a testament to what you just described, is you really, you know, when you're earnestly wondering if you should get a sugar daddy. Right, like, and it's like, but you did it in this genuine kind of way, right? The way that scene kind of progressed, and yeah, I thought your approach to that and making her grounded, and I think that's important because it's, I think, something that all girls can relate to. There is this opportunity for a social presence, and there's an opportunity to monetize on it, and there's certain people where it's like you can judge, you know, the career path. But at the end of the day, like, there's a reason why we have influencers, and there's a role to be filled there, and I think it's not something that you strictly have to judge. And when you look at like Dan, who jumps back and forth between being in awe of this girl and then saying something petty about her Instagram, it just shows you that's how most guys are.
Yeah.
Is they'll be obsessed. And they'll think you're beautiful and really try to talk you up or whatever. But, like, you know, they'll do a cheap attack like that, even though they take full advantage of your Instagram page, right? And be like, oh, yeah, well, I bet you just want dudes to jerk off to you, myself included. You know, it's like, and I thought that was portrayed very realistically about the way guys gaslight in general. You know, like,
Yes.
and
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think,
And you're like, no, I do research, okay?
yeah, and what I really like, I think what I like about the script in general is I could tell what was going on with you in a way while you were writing it, where you actually let this story develop through the dialogue. I could see you typing it, and I could see that you let it take you on a journey when you wrote it. Like, you can always tell when dialogue is like that, because it builds in a genuine kind of way. Because a lot of times writers will have this, you know, they'll have an outline and a structure out, and they'll have like a point that they want to hit, and then it's written in a way where you can tell it's just inevitably leading to this point. But when you wrote it, you can tell that, you know, a part of it was, you know, you had a really good understanding of these two characters, the situation and the place, and maybe vaguely where it was going, but then you kind of let it organically happen. And, you know, and a lot of times that's why I always think with writing, it's really fantastic when you could sort of just do like, you know, a conscious kind of vomiting of seeing where something goes without having to have an exact plan. And then you start, if you have like an intimate knowledge of your characters, then you can speak in both of their voices and then let them interact with each other and see where it goes. And it happens twice. It happens while you're writing it, and then it happens while your actors are doing it, right? And then you see what plays and what doesn't, and maybe inevitably what happens when you see your dialogue being acted out in front of you, certain moments start presenting themselves that maybe even when you had written a particular line, maybe it ends up taking on a new life because you now have two human beings. Brooke and I were talking about this yesterday. Like, so you have a human being as a resource coming in with their whole breadth of experience in their past that they're bringing into something and their choices, right? And as a director, it's like, you have a lot of times your job kind of it changes. Sometimes it's having to wrangle it in and sort of cherry pick what works. Sometimes it's about giving over and letting them take it. And then sometimes if something's not working, there needs to be a serious retooling. And whether that's your material or the actor's performance, that's something you have to determine by workshopping through it. And that's...
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is, like, you don't want the writing to feel like writing. You don't want the action to feel like acting. Like the best compliment anyone could ever give you is like saying, "I could tell you weren't acting there," and it's like, well, I was acting, right? Obviously, there's acting here. You guys are all acting, like, and they're like, when you feel real, like people say, "Hey, she's a real person. She's a real girl. She's." Dan's a real guy. Like, he's a real character, and he represents a lot of guys that, and he's an extreme example. Obviously, most guys won't kidnap a girl. Like, he essentially kidnaps a girl in order to try to get a chance with her. That's essentially what it is. It's like guys will go to the extreme to get a chick that they want or that they love or that they're obsessed with.
Don't get any ideas, please.
Yeah, please don't get ideas. But that's the thing, like, and that was part of.
Yeah,
for me,
it's like an exaggerated sense of like what guys
this
will
is. But
actually.
it is based. This movie is loosely based on a true story that was based on a movie. So it's a movie based on a true story based on another movie.
That's crazy.
Which is nuts. But I saw the first movie. I was gonna say I wasn't gonna see it, but I'm like, you know what? I'll watch it. I'll take a look at it. And
This is before or after?
before and during, like when I was writing it. So when it's about a C-list actress that gets kidnapped, and it's by a fan, and but like it's a different story. Like the way they did it was just not. It was like a perfect example of what not to do, and I'm so glad I watched that because I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
this is
'cause
what
it
I
gave
don't
you-
want to do.
Yeah.
This is what I don't want to do because I don't want it to be a woman in distress. I don't want it to be this like schmaltzy type thing. I want people to relate to the characters, not just the hero, but the villain as well. The villain is kind of the hero. The hero is kind of the villain. Because people are like, oh yeah, it must be nice just like being hot and posting pics and making a shit ton of money. It's like a lot of guys think like that, and that's not the case, right? You know what I mean? Like you were saying, people work hard for it, and so it goes on. That's essentially what it is right now, and that is what a lot of people here, like Instagram models or people that are obsessed with these hot chicks. It's so easy. Like Instagram, like recommends me a lot of hot models with huge tits. Like that's it. Like okay, I'm so sorry. I love all that stuff, but this is about the problem of what guys that get super obsessed over one particular model, what the lengths they'll go towards, and it's a cautionary tale, right? It really is. So,
You gotta put that in the credits. Some kind of.
it's a cautionary tale. At the end of the day, yeah. I could have just said it's a cautionary tale and all that, but.
Is
Yeah.
SIMP a cautionary tale?
Well, like at first there's these other terms like incel, like what is it called? It's like involuntary celibate. Someone that can't get girls, but not by their own doing. And so like it was called incel. And then also there's the pun, like she's in a cell, like she's in a cabin, like she's in a cell. But I'm like, no, that's not really what it is, and that's too much, and it's too harsh. It's more like simp is more like it's kind of a lighthearted thing, like
Yeah, it's a lot lighter.
right, like I'm simping for you, right? Or,
Yeah, I didn't even know that term when we went in to shoot this. I'm also
Really?
not very I'm not up on the times with anything.
well, we're the
literally
same age. You're a
anything.
lot younger than us. Like yeah. So I'm with you on that. Like I heard that term, and that was a more perfect term to use, and But the toughest thing was like, I'm like, God, I know I'm gonna have to describe this, what it means to
A lot of people, yeah.
a lot of people. My mom and dad in particular. You know, and it's starting with my mom.
I'll probably
and
have
dad,
to
right?
explain it to my parents.
But also,
too.
it's
Yeah.
not, but also it's just a cool name too.
It's different. Who's named their film SIMP? You know,
Yeah.
it's a new term ish, I think. So it's like also, you know,
Yeah, like
It's
yeah,
not something
like
that you're gonna
Maybe you'll
see.
be able to really capture the Gen Z crowd.
well, and that's the thing is like they get it, they know what it is, but then like I explain it to anyone else, and then I say, okay, it's a guy, or is genuinely a guy that thinks that they could just pay for a girl's attention, because a lot of people want, if they don't have the attention, they might have the money, but they'll pay a girl to give them that attention, and so that's essentially what a simp is.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is a big thing now. Obviously, it's like, you know, and since then, OnlyFans has become really such a humongous thing, right? And it's both sexual and non-sexual, and it's just like, whether it's, you know,
Mainly sexual.
whether it's that or influencers, like we have this thing where it's like, human beings, for some reason, we always need demigods. We always need somebody to put on a pedestal, right? Like in a big way. And it's like, it used to be that, you know, you could only see famous people if you went and paid at the cinema, right? And now we see these momentary tweets as they happen, or these posts or whatever, that you feel this connection that's much closer to them, where they feel you can even message them. God knows they're not going to read it or whatever in most circumstances. And you know, one of these Jenners with whatever 90 million followers or something like that. But like, it's so funny how like the internet and these apps and all these things have made it feel like these people are much closer to us than they actually are, right? These demigods, and like we need like, you know, and that's more so in the influencer kind of context, but in the context of the perversions of sexualized content, that also feel like you could, like direct messaging and shit like that you can pay for and stuff. It's weird, funky ground, right? Because it's like, wow, these stalkers don't even really need to like stalk so much anymore. They can just kind of pay for it. Like
Right, they
you
don't
can
have to leave their house.
You can take
They don't have to
you
leave
can
their
probably if there's some model on Instagram or whatever who does, or OnlyFans that does sexual content, and there's somebody who spends his whole paycheck so that, you know, he can ask her to write his name on a pair of her used underwear or something like that, he could absolutely get that, instead of, like, you know, in the olden days having to break into her house and potentially going to jail. You know, it's become safer.
Those are the good old days.
It's
We
become
need to bring
safer.
those days back,
No,
baby.
it's much safer for the stalkers these days to stalk in a more legal kind of way. And look, is it stalking if you're paying for it? Next movie idea.
Ooh.
Part two. Simp
Yeah,
two.
you guys have to stop me when I go on
What
these
happens?
tangents.
No, I'm loving the tangents. I'm loving it. You know, I think it is something that, like, it's this unsaid thing that is a huge fucking industry, is the OnlyFans thing. And people don't really talk about it out loud, you know, but they'll. I always market the movie like, hey, it's about an Instagram model that gets kidnapped in a fake photo. It's really about an OnlyFans model that gets kidnapped in a fake photo. That's what it is. But I don't want to go through the whole thing of describing it. I just don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So, but it is, because especially with OnlyFans, especially when you go sexual, when you go sexual with a character, and if there's an obsessed fan, then you can really go, you know, like that's where they will really want that attention. They'll really want that need. And they'll go to that extreme to kidnap her in order to make her fall in love with him.
Yeah, you know what?
Like that's gonna make her fall in love with him.
You know my revelation, my catharsis about my character in this movie, and having seen it again and watching these moments, is I think Dan won. I did. Because if he was willing to risk everything to do this, there was 3 particular moments where that's all he needed, and that was everything to him. And I think he won. And I don't think he cares if he dies. I think he was so enamored that the moment when he became her protector and she asked him to protect her and spend the night with her, I think that was an everlasting win for him. I think the moment, you know, the moment obviously where, you know, she kisses him. She's like, in his mind, if I can create a scenario where this girl is trying to seduce me, it'll be the best day of my life. I don't give a fuck whatever.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what happens after that. And she gives him these things that he wanted. And the straight up like sex or whatever together forever, I don't think he even really believes in that. And those things, whatever, it's like, and I think when people are fantasizing about being with someone, it's in like, there's nothing better than creating an intense scenario that you both believe is real, and he believed it's real too, in his own way, right? And she certainly does. And in those moments of intensity, this life or death, like almost as if he had made a movie for him and her to be in the situation. These people they're going to try to come and get you. And that's why I can't leave. And the way she looks at him and the way he feels that moment when she looks at him. And I remember on that day, too, giving myself permission as Dan to feel like he just won the lottery. And I almost like, and if Dan's gonna get stabbed, and it's kissing the woman that he loves, who in a few brief moments of the full-on belief that this girl wants him, fucking kill me, bitch. I don't care.
Yeah. Well,
And-
he'll take a stabbing. He'll like, yeah, if all it costs is a little stab, I
Right.
get to make out with the girl of my dreams.
And it's pathetic to say that that's the thing that he most wants, but he got it.
It's beyond pathetic. But at the same time, like, as soon as he takes his mask off and she says, "Hey, you're kind of cute," you know, and she's genuine, like you are, you know, like Dan had to be a good-looking guy. That just had to be the case because. But like it's a good-looking guy that something was off about him, you know,
Sure.
a little bit off,
Yeah.
and that's the thing about that is like, wait, you know, and she's almost surprised, like, hey, you're good-looking, you're not like this. People always, you know, if he's 300 pounds and this horrible character, right?
Or the guy from Overly Honest Reviews.
Yeah, we won't talk about the 3 out of 5 stars. It's more than 3 out of 5, motherfucker. You just opened up a Pandora's box. Bitch. He gave us 3 out of 5. Are you kidding me? Okay. I think we're worth more than 3 out of
Can
5.
I ask a question, you guys?
Yeah.
You're talking about the social media and the accessibility of celebrities these days. There's kind of a belief that there's no more Hollywood legends anymore. And I was wondering, like, maybe the accessibility these days of, like, seeing, like, you can actually reach out and tweet, you know, the movie star, like, that was what kind of, like, back in, 50 years ago, it was like, oh, no, that's, like, whoever, like Marilyn Monroe, it was like, they were unreachable. You'd see, like, pictures of them in a magazine, you see them on the big screen, and it kind of seemed like it created that kind of, like, legend about them because the inaccessibility. But now today, it's like, oh, no, they follow me on Instagram or something like that. So I was wondering, what do you guys think about it?
No, that's a really good point what you just said, because it is like there's an unattainability about these Hollywood legend stars where you can't tweet Chris Farley or Marilyn Monroe or Humphrey Bogart or any of these like luminaries, and now you can. So it's like, well, Quentin Tarantino, for example, but he doesn't have an Instagram or a Twitter by design, but at the same time, it's like, hey, people have that, like, loosely, they have that, like, that they get a little bit too accustomed to you, and for me, I'm almost like, well, I'm probably too accessible. It's like, for me, if you Google me, you can find my number, you can find a lot of things, so, that scares me. That's a big thing that scares me. And that's also part of the movie. It scares the shit out of me. That's why I kind of put that into this film, where it's like a girl who, imagine an obsessed fan. Oh, what's her name? Jessica Booker. By the way, the most unrealistic thing is the flip phone. When we had the flip phone, and you guys played.
Yeah, look it up on Facebook, and you're like, with the flip phone.
Yeah. Okay. What's her name?
Sally.
Sally what?
Sally Booker.
The Sally Booker?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also private.
Facebook.
Well, it's a burner. It's a burner phone. It has to.
It's a burner phone. It's a burner phone. And like the big thing is the Russian talk when you're talking on the phone on the balcony. The one night when you're like, where are you going? She's like, where are you going? And you're like, I need to go to where I get service.
What are you doing?
I'm going out.
Where are you going?
What's it to you?
Just curious.
I'm going to where I can get service.
Spoiler, you have service. That's the thing. You've always had service. You're gaslighting her. I gotta go where I get service. You go downstairs, you're taking your mask off. Because it's all a charade. You're doing this for her. You're not doing it for the world. There's no black, dark plague, you know.
What?
You're right? Like, spoiler alert, guys. But, like, you know, that's the whole thing is when people see that, they're like, because people ask me, like, why did he take his mask off? He's going downstairs. He's about to go outside. Like, don't you understand the movie? It's like he's gaslighting.
Yeah, there's really nothing going on outside, even though he's pretending like there's this whole scheme.
He's pretending, and then to Jessica though, she's super skeptical of everything, but she's taking everything at face value.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, she was. It was a dance between when she starts to realize as this guy unravels in front of her, like, I can't take this dude seriously. But then he says something like, you're going to an auction. And then I kind of have to take that at face value, like, fuck, like, what if I actually am going to an auction? Or, oh, you're never going to see your son again. Like, these things that actually hit her. And so you can see that in some of the scenes, it's, I can't take this guy serious, whatever, ha, 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 laughing. And then reality sets in for a second of, what if he is being serious about this? I have to take this seriously. So I think that was stuff that actually happened organically that I didn't plan to happen beforehand, that it just happened as we were moving through the scenes. So I think, yeah, that showed through on camera.
Well, yeah, you
sure.
nailed it. I think you really nailed it because it is something that it should come naturally like that, where Dan is gaslighting. It's gaslighting 101, you know, and he's gaslighting so much. He's gaslighting himself. Like he believes his own stuff, what he's saying, and she's taking it at face value and all that good stuff. So, but no, it's been a great freaking time. You guys are awesome, both of you. And I thank you both so much for coming out, showing out on the yellow carpet. Are you kidding me? You know
Yellow shag carpet.
The yellow shag carpet, which it was supposed to have like this gaffer's tape to hold it down, but they did it in a way where you didn't have to see the tape, because that would have been kind of tacky.
Yeah, it would have been.
It would have been.
But also would have been slightly on brand too. Just saying.
Well, on that note, guys, thank you guys so much. Thank you. I really appreciate you.
Yeah.
Appreciate Mike. They got fights to catch, guys. We
do.
Peace.
Thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope you had fun with this. I had a lot of fun talking to Brooke and Mike. They're great people. Hit that like button on this video and subscribe. We got a lot more coming. If you guys want more exclusive behind the scenes content and to help support us and make more movies, go to patreon.com/HayHoe Studios. Do it right now. Thank you for the support and good night.